Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 370 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. And the first comment today goes to Pradeep, who says hello. Hello to you as well. But then Gavin changes the tone slightly by saying, Melancholy Thistle, one of the perfumes we're going to be smelling in a few minutes, has an English ivy note, Sassenach Invader. Lol. That is what we're not going to be talking about English invasions, okay? But we are going up into the Highlands supposedly with this new limited edition collection from Jo Malone, and over the course of the next few minutes, I hope to be able to smell all of them with you fairly briskly, I think, because the plan for today is to do 3 videos back to back. This is a new release video, but the other 2 are kind of classics, kind of vintages. So if you've got the time, you may want to stick around for those, because I would be very, very interested to hear what you think of the scents that I've got up my short sleeves for you. I should say, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so and click on the little bell so that you get notifications of new videos coming your way. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. Okay. Who's this? I can't read the handle. Salamagne says, Jo Malone Oud Rose is beautiful and lasts for ages. Good to know. Now, what I'm not going to do in this video is rehash some of the things that I've said about Jo Malone in the past. I think I've done several videos now where I've sort of given a kind of general overview of what I think of the brand, along the lines of maybe it's the kind of brand that doesn't necessarily cater for the tastes and the preferences of the sorts of people who tend to tune into this channel, although the people who tune into this channel are many and varied, and some of the Jo Malone videos actually generate quite a lot of engagement and quite a lot of comments. But if we can sum up Jo Malone in a very, very, very kind of general overview type way, they are scents that, for instance, are not baroque. They're not particularly challenging. They're not particularly demanding. The whole Jo Malone aesthetic, I think, is meant to be about something that is clean and streamlined for people who want to smell pleasant without maybe necessarily attracting a huge amount of attention to their scent. And that's fine. Clearly, there is a market for that. And you know, the perfume is a huge church. Javira Moro says, can't believe this is happening. In defense of Jo Malone, it's not only perfumes people who don't like perfume, but also for people who don't like to wear perfume, possibly. That's my case, at least. I have a lot of perfumes, but I don't like to wear them, and Jo Malone sometimes feel like half a perfume, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, absolutely, and that's all fine. But I have to say that I don't, condemn the brand outright, because some of the things that they've done I find are more interesting than others. For instance, I think it wasn't that long ago that we looked at their reissued Tuberose Angelica, and I think I put that one in the category of being more interesting than the others. But I need to stop rabbiting on. So these are limited editions, which is why I thought we'd better put them to the video treatment quickly, because if you like the sound of them, you probably need to try and sample them very, very quickly. They come with a blurb, of course: a majestic wilderness, misty moors, heather-clad hills, and ancient castles reclaimed by nature. The untamed beauty of the Scottish Highlands inspires a new limited edition collection. Untamed beauty is not a phrase that I would normally associate with Jo Malone. Everything about Jo Malone actually is very much tamed, isn't it? But we have got then Highland Heather, Melancholy Thistle, Mallow on the Moor, and Wild Achillea. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that, or is it Achillea? I believe that's a variant of yarrow, or another way of describing yarrow. This one's by Marie Salamagne and Flipo, and the other 2 are by Yann Vasnier. So I think we should just start with them in the order that they're here. The one by Marie Salamagne is Highland Heather. Very, very attractive bottles. Jo Malone do packaging very well, because even though this is their standard 30ml bottle, they've given it a really quite fetching livery, I think. Okay. What's this about? What are people saying about Tina Turner, says Claire. Oh my goodness. If what you're saying is true, then Madame Persolaise is going to be devastated, or is this some kind of a... You're not kidding, are you? Oh, if that has happened, that's really, really sad. Very, very, very first concert I ever went to was a Tina Turner concert. But she wasn't even that... Oh, anyway, we mustn't talk about this because people watching this in months from now will be thinking, why is he talking about Tina Turner? But that's really sad. That's really, really sad. I just read it in the New York Times. Well, condolences to her family. Gosh, she was yeah, I can't imagine her wearing Jo Malone. Yeah, she was probably the kind of girl that would have worn one of the other scents I've got for you. That's really sad. Sorry. Okay, we need to change mental tracks. This is Highland Heather, although we've got a Melancholy Thistle coming up. Okay. That's got the thing we need to say about Jo Malone as well is that a lot of people complain about the longevity of their scents, and obviously I'm not going to be able to comment on that here. In the blotter update, I should be able to tell you how well they've lasted. But this is actually an intriguing opening. It's certainly not dippy or silly or trying to be instantly likable. There's something quite interestingly tart and abrasive about this. The notes apparently include heather, lavender, cypress, and amber. So I'm guessing the base is just going to be a sort of basic amber base. But there's something quite convincingly green and outdoorsy and peppery. It kind of feels almost like a herb that you would want to put into a soup to really give it some lift. There's a kind of citrusy lift to it as well. Interesting. Their blurb for it is: morning haze across a wilderness blanketed by swathes of heather, an amethyst vision captured in a woody scent, enhanced with English lavender. Surely that is not allowed. And freshened by cypress. It feels, at the moment, as just initial impression, so this was heather, right? It feels like a softer, more lavender-inflected version of Angélique sous la pluie from Frédéric Malle. And I guess in that sense, then it kind of veering quite a bit towards a sort of spicy masculine area. Science Rocks says Jo Malone started sending free samples before the collection came out, so I have the samples here to sniff along with Mr. P. Okay, good. Let's move on. So then we have got Melancholy Thistle by Anne Flipo, who has done several for this brand and whose work I usually really rate. I think she's a supremely talented perfumer. Of course, she gave a Synthetic Jungle for Frédéric Malle, didn't she? Highland Heather, says Tomasz, is my favorite of all 4 Jo Malone's fragrances you're talking about now, Persolaise. I'm enjoying the scent from a sample. Okay, so we've done your favorite. This is Melancholy Thistle, for the very, very, very melancholy news we've just shared with each other. Oh, okay. This is it's kind of synthetically woody, green, quite wan, quite pale. I wonder if melancholy here is translated as sort of passively wallpaper-ish. Yeah, not a great deal to say about that one. What's Natalie talking about? I missed the comments, Natalie. Right, let's quickly do the others as well, and then we can get an overview. Now, anything that Yann Vasnier does, I'm always interested in trying. This is his Mallow on the Moor. Let's see. and Mallow on the Moor, just to confirm. Yeah, it is Yann Vanier. Pradeep, I know these are some of the shortest reviews. It's because I want to want to spray all four and get an initial feel of them and then kind of compare them. So don't worry, we'll spend a little bit more time on them, but not a huge amount of time. I'm still shocked by the news, actually. This is Mallow on the Moor. Now, this is a bit more interesting because it's got a quite a kind of, Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff, again, wrong country, but anyway, Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff, ivy, wild greenness to it. But when we say wild, we need to put that in inverted commas here, because in the Jo Malone context, of course, wild is still pretty tame, right? This has got notes of violet leaf, and the violet leaf comes across very, very strongly. And mallow, which apparently just has a kind of very, very faintly, lightly, delicate floral scent. I didn't do the blurb for Melancholy Thistle. So Melancholy Thistle, bold and bright, okay? And entwined with a green freshness, this woody aromatic scent is underpinned by cool wood to summon the ivy-covered stone walls inside a majestic relic. Cool wood is, I think, is one word, is just a specific material. And Mallow on the Moor, purple mallow flowers spill across an untamed landscape. Pretty petals flutter alongside powdery heliotrope in this soft floral scent enriched by the naturality of violet leaves. It's just, I mean, it's pretty, and the green woodiness is attractive, but you just know, I think you just know that in about 45 minutes, this is going to be a kind of generically woody base. How boring can a fragrance be, says Spaced Out. I never tried Jo Malone's. Well, I think you should seek them out. And let's do the final one, also by Yann Vanier, Wild Achillea. And apparently that particular ingredient, the yarrow, I think smells like pine needles, so I'm told. Pop that on there. And this is... Okay, so this is green. The previous one was green in a kind of chlorophyll-y violet leaf way. This is green in a fresh cut grass bracing way. Kind of pencil shaving note in there. Something a bit biting. It's meant to have nettle in there and vetiver. DJ says, I'd wear 1,000,000 Jo Malones over junk like Halfetti and Uncut Gem. Ah, interesting. I love the bottle, says Natalie. I wish the scents were as good. It's funny because I said that I would not go on the kind of semi-rant about what Jo Malone is like as a brand, but I almost should be sort of saying, see previous video. Because they're just doing that very, very safe, clean, unassuming, I mustn't offend anybody with my perfume, Jo Malone thing. And okay, they're not, let's look at the negatives that we should be grateful for, the things that aren't present here. They're not pink, they're not overly sweet, they're not vanillic, they're not sickly. They don't actually come across as excessively synthetic, apart from maybe that Melancholy Thistle. Let's go back to that one. Yeah, the Melancholy Thistle, I think, is the one that, so far at least on this initial sniff, is the biggest letdown, because that seems to be going into quite kind of chemically feeling wood territories. And this is the Mallow, which I suppose is the sweetest of the four, just like a gently floral and yet inoffensive room spray. And where's our Highland Heather? That's actually probably the most interesting one, because it seems to have a few more layers, and if that contrast between the green and the amberiness and that whatever it is that's a bit sharp. I think that's probably, and was it Tomasz who said that was your favorite as well? I think probably at the moment on initial sniff, that's my favorite of the four as well. And let's just have another spray, smell of the Achillea. Yes, just, you know, how many different ways are there to say innocuous and harmless? These are very, very wallpapery, these ones, particularly wallpapery. And wallpaper can be very, very pleasant. It'll be interesting to see how they fare in the blotter update, but I think that is probably as much as we should say about them for the moment. But I wanted to bring them to your attention because I know that these scents do have fans. Out of the four, if an initial sniff is anything to go by, try the heather. Try the heather. Tyler says, at the end of the day, some of my L'Artisan colognes leave a similar impression. You're not wrong. Tyler says, I love them for general days when I just want to smell nice. Yes, you and I think thousands and thousands of other people. If I want something interesting, I'll go for other brands. Poppy and Barley is a beautiful soft one, but again, it's not mind-blowing. There you go. And I think that probably is a good place at which to end it. Oh, but let's give the final comment to Tyler. My issue with them is they make a big deal about traveling the world for the inspiration and the materials, but they just don't pour their heart into the juice it leaves you wanting. I don't disagree. Okay, be back in a few moments with a classic that was actually a huge commercial flop when it was first released in the 1970s. I will see you soon. Take care now. Bye.